right, you guys, this is a little bit of a different video for everybody because Father's Day is coming up very quickly. Hey Siri, when's Father's Day?
Father's Day is on Sunday, June 16th, 2019.
There you have it. Father's Day is on Sunday, June 16th. So you've got to start thinking about what you're going to get for dear old dad. And since I am one, and I happen to be a fan of many electronic gadgets and gizmos and video games. I don't know if you know that about me, but I really enjoy video games. I thought I'd put together a nice little list of some gifts that your dad or a dad you know could really appreciate. Or your mom, if she's a single mom, but also likes video games and fun things.
Dad, I love you.
So I've got a bunch of ideas for you, and I'm going to start with some video games. Let's say your dad is a PlayStation 4 owner. A perfect dad game is God of War, because Kratos, of course, is the ultimate dad in this game. At first you don't think so, but as you get deeper and deeper into this incredible adventure with this beautiful story, you really start to feel like this dad really cares about his son. And it's a wonderful story, but better than that, it's an incredible game. Easily a Game of the Year contender for last year. So if your dad doesn't have that, check out God of War.
Get in the boat, boy.
Also for the PlayStation 4 or the Xbox One, I would say Ace Combat 7 would be a fun visit for any pop out there. Ace Combat 7, of course, utilizes all of the modern tech to be absolutely beautiful. And on the PlayStation 4 version of the game, you get the extra bonus of it being VR compatible if you've got the PlayStation VR headset, which also might not be a bad Father's Day gift. Resident Evil 2 has become one of the best games of 2019 so far, and your dad may remember the previous iteration of Resident Evil 2, so it will be a big trip and a lot of fun and a lot of scares and a lot of frustrations because this game is tough. Incredible graphics, lots and lots of really lush environments, and all of that stuff that looks so pre-rendered back in the day. It's all three-dimensional, and you can interact with a lot more objects, and the zombies are more fearsome than you can remember. Now, for the Xbox One, in addition to Resident Evil 2, I would also check out Forza Horizon 4. This was the game that added the Bond car DLC. If your dad's been on the earth for a little while, more than likely he has seen a Bond movie, and more than likely he has dug one of the James Bond cars. And in Forza Horizon 4, you get to drive them around. They didn't really add any kind of like James Bond storyline or anything like that. It's gorgeous and fun, and that extra Bond DLC stuff is just a nice treat. So that would be a fantastic Father's Day gift. I would also say that The Division 2 makes a terrific game, whether you pick that up for the PlayStation or the Xbox One or the PC. Doesn't really matter where you go with this title. It's phenomenal. Just make sure that whatever version of The Division 2 you get for dad, he's got friends that also play on that similar system. You can't play Xbox against PC against PlayStation 4, which is a little disappointing, but the game is not. The game is a ton of fun, particularly with friends. Now, if your dad likes to travel or has to travel for work or something, a terrific companion that you could get for him is a Nintendo Switch. And if you're going to get a Nintendo Switch for anybody, you have to get them a copy of The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, which is my favorite game of all time. It is one of those games, it's almost like reading through a fantastic choose-your-adventure novel. Basically, go anywhere you want to in this game. It's absolutely limitless in terms of scope. You really could just, explore to your heart's content and attack the objectives in any order that you want. It's really just about making it your own story. It's a tour de force kind of experience, and experience is the word that you underline because everybody that plays The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild has a totally different one. Now, I've got a couple of other suggestions for Nintendo Switch games that are terrific for on-the-go travelers out there. One of them is Wargroove, which came out earlier this year. It's an awesome turn-based strategy game that kind of evokes classics like Advance Wars and Fire Emblem. It's got a great role-playing story with lots of cool characters and lots of cool abilities, lots of differences in the playstyles and the mechanics depending on the factions that you choose. Wargroove was an awesome surprise, and it's definitely a game that will travel very well with your dad. Another one is Golf Story, which is a role-playing golf game where you actually do have to hit the links and get into some golf experiences, but you also have all of this interplay and conversation and tasks and objectives with the different people that you'll encounter through these golf courses and through these little towns and areas that you're going to be exploring in this title. Incredible game, very, very fun and deep, but also, again, cutesy and cartoony and kind of retro in its style, accessible, just plain awesome. Now, if your dad happens to be a retro gamer and has a small collection of Sega Genesis or Super Nintendo games, I've got a couple of perfect gift ideas for you. Analog has made modern systems that hook up to an HDMI port in your television or your receiver that play these cartridges as they're meant to be played in 2019. Both are beautiful. The Super Nintendo version is called the Super NT, and the Sega Genesis version is called the Mega SG. The Genesis version also has an adapter so you can play Sega Master System games right out of the box. It comes in the box, and you can also plug it into an old Sega CD system if all of that is operational. But what they do is they recreate these cartridge experiences in just pristine quality. The blacks are deep black. You don't see weird phasing or color shifting or anything. Everything is just rock solid. Both of these hardware options are not inexpensive. They'll each cost upwards of $200 US to buy them and have them shipped to you. And they don't come with controllers. You actually have to have classic Super Nintendo or Sega Genesis controllers and plug them in and they'll work fine. Or you can get the new 8-bit DOE Super Nintendo variant or the Sega Genesis variants that they have. Those are awesome controllers. Incredible stuff. And if your dad digs the sort of old golden days of gaming, you definitely have to check out either the analog Super NT or the analog Mega SG. Or if you're very generous, get them both. Now, if you want your dad to jump into the latest and greatest in VR tech, you have to take a look at the brand new Oculus Quest. This is a cordless VR system. Everything that you need to be able to play games in virtual reality is included right in the box. You get a couple of the brand new Oculus Touch devices, and you get the new headset, the Quest headset, which actually has cameras mounted all around it so that it gives you 6 degrees of freedom. So you can move, and you can look around in every direction, you can turn around in any direction that you want to, and you can play games as if you have got room scale built all around you. You actually draw a little guardian on the floor around you so that you've got kind of your safe space that you can walk into. It's about the same kind of fidelity as you would get out of the PlayStation VR, so it's not state-of-the-art, but the Quest comes in at $400 US for the 64 gigabyte model, and I think that's plenty to jump into VR for the first time. And the fact that you don't have to plug in any cables or wires or have any external device running any of this software is absolutely phenomenal. And there's some pretty damn good games. Robo Recall and Beat Saber and Vader Immortal. There's lots of great experiences that are already available and the system just launched. It's amazing. Now, if you do have a dad that likes to play some games on the PC but also has to get some work done and does some traveling, you definitely have to take a look at the MSI IP65 computer. Now, this is the computer that MSI sent me and I've reviewed, and I have it on my desk when we shoot EP Live, and I've traveled extensively with this device and I freaking love it. The games on this laptop look better than my Xbox One X or my PlayStation 4 Pro. Like when I play something like The Division 2, I'm blown away by the quality that I see on the screen. Now, yes, it's not in 4K, it's not up-res to 4K, but the lighting and the fidelity on the character faces and the fluidity of the motion and the movement, it just blows me away. And then I will plug it into my 4K TV and it upscales and it still looks better than my awesome consoles. I still have a tough time believing it. It's just incredible that I get that much horsepower out of a laptop. So it has a lot of power under the hood, but it looks sleek, it looks elegant, just a cool Windows laptop, but it can run games ferociously well, and that's why I love this so much. Now, it's not inexpensive. You're going to be spending, a few $1,000, so you're going to have to love your dad very much. But if you do and you've got that spending money and you're looking for a laptop that they can also play games on, I guarantee your dad is going to have a huge smile on his face and he won't forget you come Christmas time. Another device that I recently picked up for myself that I absolutely love are Apple's AirPods. The reason why I really like these things, and I didn't even consider this when I bought them, is that I look at my phone a whole hell of a lot less when I have these in. And I like that because I think that we live in a society where we're always looking at our phones, and suddenly when you pop these in, Siri becomes much more responsive. So when you're doing things like texting somebody, and on the way to do this shoot, honestly, I texted Blake and told him that I was off to go and shoot this video and I'd have it to him right away, and I didn't look at my phone once. And Blake got the message, he sent back it was an okay, and I thought, okay, this is really cool. The sound quality is pretty damn damn solid for the fact that they are wireless. You can use it as a microphone too when you're recording some videos, provided you have the right app. I've just been really impressed that I haven't looked at my phone as much, particularly if you pair it with the Apple Watch. Now, I don't have the latest, the Series 4 watch. I have the Series 3, but I see that when I use Siri in concert with my watch and I'm texting my wife, or, I want to get some information like, did the Raptors win last night or something like that, I can just ask it into my earbuds and check my watch and I get that information right away. And again, it keeps me away from my phone, which I think a lot of us have this addiction. We're on these damn devices way too much. Other thing, of course, with the Apple Watch, particularly if your father's a little bit older, there's a lot of health tracking, a lot of health data. Now, I appreciate if your dad is into the Android stuff, those aren't going to be for him. A fantastic movie that would be perfect for your dad because there's a lot of father-son dynamics within the movie, or father-child dynamics within the movie. Spider-Man Into the SpiderVerse, which is just an absolutely outstanding piece of work. It won Best Animated Feature at the Oscars earlier this year. Incredible soundtrack, incredible performances, amazing sense of humor, and visuals that you have never seen before, only in your mind's eye as you've been flipping through comic books for years. So if your dad has ever loved a comic book, or is a fan of Spider-Man in any fashion, or just appreciates wonderful artwork and wonderful animation, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is a can't-miss situation. Particularly as a gift, because it's just so unique and so beautiful. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, whether you buy the 4K Blu-ray, the Blu-ray, or a digital video file to share with your pop, he is going to love it.
I love you.
That's a copy.
And finally, the last gift that I would recommend is for dad that maybe had a history of hanging out in some arcades. There's a whole suite of these Replicade tiny mini arcade systems out there. Replicade sent me the Tempest machine. They asked me, which one do you want of these things? I love the game Tempest. I love the fact that it has that little paddle control and you're blasting at all these different enemies that are coming at you. And they did a fantastic job of just shrinking the arcade cabinet down and letting you play and hear the Tempest experience. I would say that that would make a wonderful gift for anybody that has a dad out there that spent a lot of time hanging out in arcades or pool halls, dropping in quarters into classic arcade systems. And you don't want to fill up his whole life with a bunch of these. I think you want to find the little mini machine that suits your dad the best. Check out the library that Replicate has got, but I can't say enough how cool it is to have a little mini Tempest machine. So there you go. There's a bunch of ideas for your dad. Make sure whatever you buy him or pick up for him, you'll also take him out and tell him how much you love him. This is coming from a dad that can never hear that enough. Thanks for watching, everybody, and happy Father's Day.